Hi, my name is Leah Day, and welcome to this video for the Free Motion Quilting Project. Today I'm stitching on a new design called Octopus legs. It's a combination of wiggly tentacle kind of shapes filled with circles, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's get on the machine and see how it works. Okay, so here I am at my machine and I'm stitching this out into a little 4-inch square. And basically the rules of this design are stitch a wiggly kind of flame shape into the middle of your quilting space and then fill that shape with circles. So here I'm going to start this right here. I'm going to stitch down, and you really want to vary how long these are. You want to make some really nice and long and wiggly and some a little shorter. Make this one nice and long, so it's going to go past the midpoint of my quilting space, and now I'm coming back creating that nice wide flame shape. Okay, so that's really the first half of the design, and that's a design in itself. You can definitely play with that. I think that's Flame Path or something like that. I don't know. I'll link it up so that way you know where that design is if you'd like to stitch that on your quilt and see what that looks like. But now I'm going to add a little bit more texture by going inside with circles. And I like to start with that half circle kind of shape. Just helps me get started. And then now I'm swinging around. And really what I'm doing as I'm swinging around, kind of pick up a pen so I can show you, I'm looking, you know, kind of at my circle shape, and I'm kind of visualizing a center point for that circle. It's one of those things where it's all visual. And I'm just visualizing a center point for that circle and swinging around it. It does not have to be perfect. I do find sometimes that it's easier to stitch to the side, like this, swing around and back down, and then you're careful travel stitching to get back around that circle and start forming the next one. Now hear how slowly my machine is running. I am not putting my foot down very hard at all. I'm keeping a very light pressure on my foot pedal, and that's making my stitches, my machine runs slowly, and then my hands are moving slowly, and that's producing these nice small stitches. It's just speed control. I can go a little faster, but I really want to keep the slow, steady beat, the slow, steady speed, simply because what I'm doing is a little challenging and it requires moving slowly. So I'm coming down here to the tip of that flame shape and just making these circles smaller and smaller as they go. If you have a circle that goes beyond the flame shape, like you stitch out of it, don't worry about it, no big deal. You can hide that by stitching a little extra stitching along the sides, and I'll show you that now. If you've stitched on the outside, you can just come up the edge and kind of go back and forth a few times and hide it. Like right here, I'm just travel stitching over that spot, and if I'd stitched out, that would have hidden that little mistake. To get to the next one, all you do is travel stitch up, get back to that edge of your quilting space, and I've really filled one half of my space here. And so the next step is to travel stitch down along the edge and start forming wiggly octopus legs that kind of meet up and interlock with the first set. So I'm going to stitch on down and show you what that looks like next. Okay, so you watched me stitch several of these, and hopefully you can see basically this side is working exactly the same as the first side. I'm just bringing these up and interlocking them with the first set, and I'm trying to maintain kind of an even distance about a little bit more than 1/8 of an inch between the shapes. So let me stitch down and I'll kind of talk you through one. And it's, when you're working this small, it's perfectly fine to rotate your space around. Even in a big quilt, I'll rotate my space around my quilt or my block just so I can see what I'm doing and get a good visual on it. It's really pointless to keep your quilt in a position you can't see. So don't feel bad for rotating and moving things around. So you can see I'm coming in and just, it's really an echo. It's just keeping that set distance, a little bit more than 1/8 of an inch between those shapes. And then once it's set, the easy part, and I'd say it's easy because it's you don't have to think so much about filling the circles. You don't have to worry so much about where your line ends up. You just stitch the circles. If you stitch a circle and it's just really, really far off, or it just doesn't look like a circle shape at all, try filling it with a spiral shape, and that's really going to improve the look of it. Spirals can hide a lot of mistakes and it'll make it stand out nicely. You could maybe insert a spiral in several places within the design and it'll make it look really nice. So my name is Leah Day, and if you would like to find loads more inspiration for learning free motion quilting and stitching out hundreds of designs in your quilts, definitely click right here and you will find my book 365 Free Motion Quilting Designs. This book comes with hundreds of quilting designs and photos, so that way you can check it out, flip through it, and have loads of inspiration for quilting your quilts on your home sewing machine. Check that book out at leahday.com. And until next time, let's go quilt.